story turns its most ominous page far out in mid-Pacific, where in the Eniwetok Atoll, the world's most awesome weapon is readied for detonation. The pictures you are about to see have been released by the Department of Defense under presidential order. Here on Illujalab Island, the cab or housing for the first hydrogen bomb takes shape after months of preparation. In this building, the cataclysmic force of the H-bomb will be released. Working as a task force team, the Army, Navy, and Air Force work against time to prepare the installations for M-hour under the supervision of scientists who have labored for years to develop the thermonuclear weapon. Illujalab, the shot island is almost ready for the sacrifice. With final preparations almost complete, jeeps with workers leave the island, which is connected with two others by a plywood tube. Filled with helium, it houses the hundreds of instruments which will record the explosion data, which is the prime objective of the test. On board the Estes, flagship of the task force, officers go over final details around a chart of the affected atoll, which spans a distance of 25 miles. Under the direction of General Clarkson, task force commander, M-hour approaches with terrifying rapidity.
Do not remove goggles or face burst until 10 seconds after the first light. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, T0.
The ball of fire is 3 miles across as it shatters both land and sea. The shockwave races 35 miles and reaches the control ship with force enough to jar the solidly mounted camera. In seconds, the fireball erupts into a geyser that towers 25 miles into the stratosphere, spreading into a 100-mile wide mushroom cloud. Rising with the cloud are millions of cubic feet of radioactive ash, a virulent byproduct of the fusion bomb that will shower down over the area in approximately 1 hour. Helicopters have a narrow margin of safety to flit across the blast zone and report back. Still unknown is the effect of the explosion on the atoll.
All test islands seem to be swept clean. Illujalab is completely calm. Nothing there but water and what appears to be a deep crater.
With its force measured in megatons, equivalent to millions of tons of TNT, the power of the thermonuclear bomb is almost inconceivable. This is the kitchen of tomorrow, a press-button dream coming true for Mrs. Housewife. All sorts of wonders are hers at the push of a button, from refrigerator doors to countertops built for big gals or little gals. Don't have to lean over here, you see. What's for dinner? Consult the menus on pictures and dish up something new for a change. Hummingbird wings on toast, maybe. And look where the toaster is. A wave of the hand and presto, down comes a hidden cabinet with the dishes. Mama will feel like a fairy princess with a magic wand in a place like this. We won't be able to get her out of the kitchen, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Right now, the question before the house is, what's cooking and when do we eat? In New York, the 3rd International Motor Sports Show opens. This spectacular West German job is one of the many stars of the show. Note how the steering wheel pushes out of the way for entrance. Even more eye-popping is the bat, if only for its price tag, but it has other unusual features worth a glance, even if you can't afford the car. Here's an American product, body styled in Italy and called appropriately the Italia. Very sporty, too. Pause and catch your breath. It's a beauty, typical of the strong international trend of the show, with more foreign cars on display than ever before. A lovely collection of chassis.
In Washington, D.C., ruthless, fanatic violence erupted in the halls of Congress. 3 men and a woman believed to be members of the Puerto Rican nationalist gang that in November 1950 attempted the assassination of President Truman opened fire from the visitors' gallery of the House of Representatives. 5 congressmen were hit. Ben F. Jensen of Iowa, Clifford Davis of Tennessee, Kenneth Roberts of Alabama, George H. Fallon of Maryland, and Albert Bentley of Michigan, who was seriously injured. Observers noted the attack came as the Inter-American Conference opened in Venezuela, and it suggested the motive may have been to arouse anti-United States feeling in Latin America through an act of apparently blind violence carefully calculated to inflame America's relations with her neighbors. Estimates of the numbers of shots fired range from 15 to 30, and each bullet hole found is a grim reminder to those who were present of the terrible surprise attack. The gang, seized by shocked bystanders as they emptied their guns, was held at police headquarters as a widespread search was launched for others who shared in the plot. To Irving Forrest, Rafael Miranda, Mrs. Lolita Lebron, Andre Cordero, the gun wielders, and to their accomplices goes the evil distinction of having perpetrated a criminal outrage almost unique in America's history. Wanton violence that shocked and stirred the nation and did only harm to the cause of the Puerto Rican people.
The biggest ceremony of its kind in post office history sees Secretary Dulles, President Eisenhower, and Postmaster Summerfield take part in the introduction of the first stamp with a religious message. As a memento of the occasion, Postmaster Summerfield presents the President with an album containing a block of the new 8-cent stamps destined to become collector's items. The new stamp will carry to the world America's message of liberty and faith. From Hanford Plutonium Works, a look at the latest in fashions for atomic energy technicians working in hot areas. This room is contaminated with radioactive dust, and that plastic gargoyle, the newest type safety suit with a long, hollow tail that allows a technician to enter from outside. The suit is kept inflated by a slightly higher air pressure than the hot room. He wears a face mask to ensure a fresh air supply. It's a great improvement over earlier safe coveralls, bulky, cumbersome, and likely to accumulate contaminated dust. The new suit cuts out some really impressive laundry bills. A transparent facepiece gives clear vision. Shielded from hot particles by the plastic skin, the technician does his job in reasonable comfort. It's weird but practical. Another example of the ingenuity and care that keep our atomic plants safe. Spring and a young man's fancy. Yes, sir, it's love at first sight when school kids in Jackson Heights, Long Island get a glimpse of the latest in yo-yos and yo-yo techniques. Demonstrators are mobbed by avid youngsters of all ages, eager to learn all the strings of the spinning sport that's sweeping the country this spring. A musical master plays by ear. Yo-yo's Willie Hoppy hits the side pocket.